Something is shifting in the silence you can feel but cannot fully explain. And what unfolds next may reveal that the distance was never empty. It was part of a decision already being made beneath the surface. Welcome back to Psyche and Shadow, where we explore the hidden layers of human emotion, psychology, and the silent battles that shape love, attachment, and inner transformation. In today's video, we dive into what really happens behind emotional silence, the unseen inner conflict, the pull of unresolved feelings, and the moment someone is forced to face what they've been avoiding. Something is unfolding in the silence, and if you've been sensing it lately, you're not imagining it. There's a decision slowly taking shape in the hidden corners of their mind, and somehow your presence is part of it. On the outside, they may seem calm, distant, even unaffected. Life around them might look normal, like nothing has changed. But internally, something is shifting in a way they can no longer fully control. A truth they once pushed aside is starting to feel too heavy to ignore. And what most people miss here is this. This isn't only about missing you. It isn't just about whether they come closer or drift away completely. It's about what you awakened in them, what this connection exposed in them, what they were forced to feel when avoidance stopped working. Pay attention to this, because what follows carries weight. What they are deciding right now is not small or temporary. It's not a casual emotional phase. It's a turning point that could quietly redirect the course of their life. Whatever direction they take from here, they won't come out of this moment as the same person. The tension you've been sensing has meaning. The distance has meaning. Even the silence has been speaking in its own way. Beneath it all, an internal conflict has been building pressure, reaching a point where it can't stay hidden anymore. And soon, their response will reveal what they truly are when fear is no longer strong enough to hide behind excuses. What you're feeling is real. It isn't wishful thinking, and it isn't your mind filling gaps. It's the subtle movement of someone confronting themselves because your presence touched something deep inside them, something they can't easily unfeel or unsee. Right now, they are standing at a crossroads where every possible direction somehow circles back to you. For a long time, they tried to outrun it. They distracted themselves with routines, noise, pride, and emotional distance. They told themselves it wasn't that serious, that time would dilute it, that space would weaken it. But what actually happened was the opposite. Some connections don't fade on command. The more they tried to suppress it, the more it resurfaced. The more they labeled it as temporary, the more their inner world treated it as unfinished. Because what you shared wasn't surface level. It reached deeper layers of them, parts that don't just switch off when life becomes inconvenient. Now something unexpected is happening. They are reflecting, not only on what you meant to them, but on what this connection revealed about who they are. And once someone starts questioning the story they built to protect themselves, change is already in motion, even if it hasn't fully shown itself yet. This isn't just a decision between staying or leaving. It's a confrontation with identity. One part of them feels drawn toward you in a way that feels natural, almost undeniable. Your absence doesn't feel empty to them. It feels like something unresolved, something their mind keeps returning to without permission. But another part of them resists just as strongly, because acknowledging what they feel would require honesty they've been avoiding. It would require emotional exposure. It would mean letting go of control and facing vulnerability instead of hiding behind distance. And that is exactly why everything feels heavier now. Why the silence feels louder. Why the connection still lingers even without words. They are no longer only avoiding the truth. They are beginning to sit with it. They are asking themselves questions they once avoided. Why you still appear in their thoughts. Why certain moments bring you back into focus. Why nothing else has fully replaced what your presence stirred in them. This is the stage before clarity. A mind can only stay divided for so long before something inside it gives way. And when that happens, the emotional mask starts to weaken. What comes next will show whether fear is still leading them or whether truth is finally starting to take over. If they return, it won't be because everything suddenly became easy. It will be because they finally understood the depth of what was there and realized that some connections don't repeat in life. And if they walk away, it won't be because you weren't enough. It will be because they weren't ready for the level of emotional truth this connection demanded. That's why your position now is not to chase or force outcomes. What's unfolding inside them cannot be rushed or controlled. Let clarity come on its own. Let time reveal what pressure cannot. Inside them, the conflict is intense. On one side, there is emotional pull, memory, warmth, familiarity, and a sense of belonging tied to you. On the other, there is fear. Fear shaped by past wounds, disappointment, and the instinct to protect themselves from getting hurt again. These two forces are clashing right now, and that internal pressure is building. They may continue acting normal. They may stay busy, distracted, or emotionally distant. But suppression doesn't erase what's there. It only pushes it deeper until it rises again, stronger than before. Because the real conflict was never between you and them. It has always been within them. You became a shift point in their emotional world. Even if they didn't understand it at the time, something about this connection disrupted the walls they built to stay safe. It reached the part of them that exists beneath image, pride, and control. Now they are facing a choice. Stay within the version of themselves they've always known, or step into something unfamiliar that requires emotional openness, courage, and vulnerability. And that choice is exhausting them from within. That's why you may have seen inconsistency, the closeness followed by withdrawal, warmth followed by distance. It's not always about manipulation. Sometimes it's what happens when someone wants connection but fears what it might transform inside them. As this continues, illusions start breaking down. They can no longer fully convince themselves that what they feel is insignificant or temporary. You are no longer just a passing thought in their mind. You are becoming something they have to acknowledge. And more than that, they are being forced to confront themselves in the process. Old memories return without warning. Emotions feel sharper. Silence feels heavier. Even small moments start carrying meaning. This is what happens when emotional avoidance starts collapsing under its own weight. There comes a point where uncertainty becomes too heavy to carry. They are approaching that point now, not because external circumstances changed, but because internal resistance can't stay split forever. For a long time, they minimized what they felt. They tried to convince themselves it wasn't important, that it would pass, that they could outgrow it. But feelings with real depth don't disappear just because they are ignored. They build quietly until they demand attention. Now those emotions are returning in waves, in stillness, in memory, in unexpected moments when everything else is quiet. Your absence has played its role too. It created space, and in that space, silence became a reflection. Without your presence there to soften it, they were left alone with what your absence actually felt like. The missing comfort, the missing emotional connection, the missing sense of something real. And when someone finally feels the full weight of what is missing, they stop asking whether it mattered. They start questioning whether they were too late in realizing that it did. In their reflection, comparisons happen naturally, not in a perfect or conscious way, but in emotional contrast. What they felt with you begins to stand out, not as perfection, but as depth, presence, and emotional awakening. That's why this internal process is changing them. They are moving toward a decision they can no longer delay, because staying in the middle is no longer sustainable. Inside them, fear and desire are now directly facing each other. Fear says, stay safe, stay unchanged, avoid risk. Desire says, move closer, be honest, feel what is real. And for the first time, desire is beginning to feel louder. That shift matters. It signals change already happening beneath the surface. This is why the push and pull feels so intense. One moment they lean in emotionally, the next they retreat. Both sides feel real, and that's exactly why they are stuck. But no one stays in that state forever. Eventually, something gives. Either fear wins and they retreat into distance, or truth becomes stronger and pulls them forward. This isn't only about connection anymore, it's about who they are becoming through it. Until now, they've been caught in hesitation, overthinking, replaying moments, trying to analyze emotions that don't obey logic. But what they are facing now cannot remain unresolved forever. Everything inside them is moving toward a single point, a real decision. And as that moment approaches, they may seem more distant or uncertain on the surface. But internally, everything is moving toward clarity. Something is unfolding in the silence. And if you've been sensing it lately, it isn't your imagination. There is a decision slowly forming in the hidden depths of their heart, and in some way, your presence is tied to it. On the outside, they may look composed, distant, normal, even emotionally unavailable. But beneath that surface calm, something far more intense is shifting. A truth they once avoided is now becoming too heavy to ignore. And what most people fail to understand is this. This is not only about missing you. It's not only about whether they come back or disappear completely. It's about what your connection awakened inside them, what it exposed, what it forced them to feel when avoidance stopped working. Stay with this, because what is unfolding now carries real weight. What they are deciding is not small or random or temporary. It is a turning point in their inner world. They are standing at the edge of a realization that could quietly change the entire direction of their life. And no matter which way they go, toward you or away from you, they will not remain the same afterward. The tension you've been feeling has a source. The distance has a reason. The silence has a reason. Beneath all of it, a deep internal conflict is rising to its peak, and what follows will reveal who they truly are when fear can no longer hide behind excuses. What you are sensing is real. It is not imagination. It is not something created by longing. It is the quiet struggle of someone trying to understand themselves because your presence reached places within them they didn't expect to be touched. They are standing at a crossroads, and every direction somehow circles back to you. For a long time, they tried to distract themselves. They buried it in routine, in noise, in work, in pride, in emotional distance. They tried to rationalize what they felt. They told themselves that time, space, and silence would weaken it. But some connections don't fade like that. The more they tried to suppress it, the more it returned. The more they tried to label it as temporary, the more their inner world treated it as unfinished. Something still alive beneath everything they were trying to ignore. Because what existed between you was never shallow. It went deeper than surface emotion. It reached parts of them that don't simply disappear when life becomes difficult. And now something unexpected is happening. They are beginning to reflect on everything. Not only what you meant to them, but what this connection revealed about themselves. And when someone starts questioning the story they built to protect their identity, change is already much closer than they realize. The real decision they are facing is not just about staying or leaving. It's about whether they are willing to face their own truth. One part of them is naturally drawn toward you, almost instinctively. Your absence doesn't feel neutral to them. It feels like something missing, something unresolved, something that keeps pulling their thoughts back even when they try to move forward. But another part resists just as strongly, because being honest about what they feel would require vulnerability. It would require openness. It would require them to stop performing strength and actually live it. And real change is never comfortable. It disrupts old defenses. It breaks familiar patterns. It forces a person to release the version of themselves that once felt safe. That's why everything feels heavier now. That's why the connection feels stronger even in silence. They are no longer only running from the truth. They are starting to sit with it. They are being forced to ask themselves why you still appear in their thoughts, why your memory shows up in quiet moments, why no one else has been able to replace what your presence made them feel. This is the threshold before clarity. A mind can only stay divided for so long before it leans in one direction, and when that moment comes, the emotional mask begins to crack. Stay with this, because what follows will reveal whether fear is still leading them or whether truth finally takes over. If they return, it will not be because everything became easy. It will not be because life suddenly turned simple. It will be because they finally recognized the rare value of what was shared and understood that some connections don't happen twice. And if they walk away, it will not mean you weren't enough. It will not mean your emotions lacked depth. It will simply mean they weren't ready for the level of honesty and inner transformation this connection required. That is why your role now is not to chase, not to force, not to control what happens next. Let truth unfold on its own. Let time reveal what words cannot. What is happening inside them is not a passing doubt. It is a full internal conflict. On one side is a pull toward you, filled with memory, warmth, longing, and emotional familiarity. On the other side is a protective voice shaped by past pain, disappointment, and fear of being hurt again. These two forces are colliding and the pressure is building. They may appear normal on the outside. They may stay busy. They may act as if nothing matters. But suppression doesn't remove emotion. It intensifies it, because this was never an external battle. It has always been internal. You became a turning point in their emotional world. Even if it wasn't fully understood at the time, something about this connection challenged the walls they built to protect themselves. It reached the version of them beneath control, beneath image, beneath everything they used to hide. Now they are facing a difficult choice. Stay within the limits of who they have always been, or step into a version of themselves that requires courage, emotional honesty, and vulnerability. And that struggle is draining them. It shows in the inconsistency, the push and pull, the closeness followed by distance, the warmth followed by withdrawal. This is not always manipulation. Sometimes it is what happens when someone wants connection but fears what it will awaken inside them. As this pressure grows, illusion begins to break. They can no longer fully convince themselves that you are just a passing presence. They are being forced to see you more clearly, and even more than that, to see themselves more clearly. Old memories return. Emotions feel sharper. Silence feels heavier. Absence feels louder. And this process matters because real decisions are never born from avoidance. They come when confusion starts to fade and fear loses control. There comes a point where uncertainty becomes too heavy to carry. They are reaching that point now, not because the outside world changed, but because the mind cannot stay divided forever. For too long, they tried to minimize what they felt. They told themselves it wasn't serious, that it would pass, that they could outgrow it. But feelings with real depth don't disappear. They grow in silence. They strengthen in absence. They wait until they can no longer be ignored. Now those emotions return in waves, in memories, in stillness, in moments they didn't expect. In the quiet after everything else fades, their mind returns to you. Your presence lingers like something they can't fully remove, and your absence has only amplified this process. Because when you stepped back, silence filled the space, and that silence became a mirror. Without your presence softening it, they were left alone with what your absence created. The missing comfort, the missing spark, the missing emotional safety. And when someone finally feels the full weight of what is missing, they stop asking whether it mattered and start wondering if they realized it too late. In their reflection, comparisons begin to form. Not always consciously, but clearly in feeling. What they experienced with you stands out, not as perfection, but as depth, as emotional aliveness, as something that made them feel more seen, more awake, more real. That is why this is changing them from within. They are moving toward a decision because staying in between is no longer possible. The path ahead demands honesty. Inside them, fear and desire are now facing each other directly. Fear brings hesitation, control, and protection built from old wounds. Desire brings connection, truth, and emotional pull toward you. And for the first time, desire is starting to feel stronger. That shift is important. It means something inside them is changing. This is why the push and pull has felt so intense. One moment they move closer, the next they pull away. Both sides feel real, and that is exactly why they are stuck. Not because they don't care, but because they are trying to survive their own inner storm. But no one stays in that storm forever. A breaking point always comes. Eventually, one side wins. Either fear keeps them distant, or truth pulls them forward. This is no longer just about connection. It is about identity, about who they choose to become from here. And that moment is approaching faster than it seems. Until now, they've lived in hesitation, overthinking, replaying memories, trying to control emotions that cannot be controlled by logic. But feelings this heavy always demand resolution. Everything inside them, confusion, longing, reflection, is moving toward one unavoidable point, a real decision. And as it gets closer, they may seem more distant, more uncertain, more withdrawn on the outside. But underneath it all, everything is moving toward clarity. In the end, what is unfolding behind the silence is not something random or meaningless. It is a process of inner confrontation that cannot be rushed or controlled. What they are facing is not just about you, but about themselves, their fears, their patterns, and the truth they can no longer fully avoid. Whether they move toward you or choose to walk away, the real outcome is transformation. Something inside them has already been awakened, and that cannot be undone. Silence did not end the connection. It revealed its depth. And for you, the clarity is this: what is real does not need to be chased, forced, or proven through anxiety. It reveals itself in time through actions, decisions, and emotional honesty. Whatever happens next, it will come from truth finally rising above fear. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe to Psyche and Shadow for more deep dives into human emotion and hidden psychology. And if you made it this far, comment the word awakening below, so I know you truly felt the depth of this message.